Hey guys, Sean C. Phillips here with my July 8th DVD update, where I talk about all the DVDs and Blu-rays I received a review and talk about for you guys over the last 2 weeks or so. Like I always say, guys, enjoy these update videos. Definitely give this video a thumbs up. Leave me comments below this video letting me know what you guys thought of titles I checked out and reviewed this update. Any titles coming up you guys like me to review for future updates, and some of the things you guys have picked up recently. Now, the first one I got from Shout Factory's Scream Factory line is the brand new collector's edition release of Species. This is a movie I had not seen the original movie in a really long time. You know, I reviewed the sequels like about maybe a year or so ago when they came out. Scream Factory released the sequels to this film as well. But I always really liked this movie. It's one of those movies too I always remembered seeing like on HBO all the time back in the day when it after it first came out. It's basically though about these scientists in this lab that ended up creating. They have like this alien gene, and they end up creating like a hybrid that's kind of growing really fast, half woman, half alien. And it's kind of basically what ends up happening though is she ends up escaping, and her plan is to try and mate and create like the ultimate kind of daughter that can kind of take over the whole planet. It's like the scientists all trying to find her and trying to follow the clues of where she is and track her down. There's like all these deaths of all these men that she sleep with along the way. It's kind of them just trying to track her down and stop her before she can actually successfully mate, with a human male. I always thought this was a really, really cool movie. This is a movie, too, like, when this first came out, I felt like they made a lot of other movies that were kind of copying this. There's, like, ones like Decoys and a number of other ones. It kind of took, like, a trend of, like, copying this kind of film and making a whole bunch of different ones. But I always thought, though, this was a really, really cool film. It has on here, though, a brand new 4K scan of the movie, and then it has some of the past features from the past releases of this one. But it also has on here brand new interviews with some of the people behind the film, like the cinematographer, the production designer, composer, special effects, makeup artist, and some of the people who worked on the creature character as well. It also has, like I said, the stuff from the past releases, like the alternate ending, as well as some other featurettes and commentaries on this one. But a really, really cool new release of this film. It's always, like I said, it's a really cool alien science fiction film. The next one here from Lionsgate. This is kind of an interesting movie. This was set during, it was set in 1940. This is it's a movie called Their Finest. And this is about the time when they were making those kind of movies before a film. Like if you were going to the theater, they would play like these 5 to 10 minute reels about some kind of news stories or little shorts dealing with things that were going on in the world, about like the war and about all kind of different subjects and stuff like that. And it's about this woman who ends up getting a job as a writer where they're making these kind of shorts that play before the movies, and she kind of gets there, and it's kind of her trying to deal with the people that she works with there and trying to make better films, because the kind of films they're making there are kind of not going over too well. They're not really that exciting, and she wants to kind of try and make this a better movie. And she kind of comes across this story about these two sisters and something that they did. And she kind of, petitions to get the job to actually write this and kind of headline this project and be involved in the whole thing. And the whole thing is essentially about her trying to make this movie, and she finds out more so about the story as well. But it's her trying to make this movie, dealing with, the actors and stuff and all the kind of, problems behind the scenes and all the kind of issues. It's kind of a fun movie and about a different kind of subject matter. Like I said, I've never really seen a movie about making these little shorts that played before them. And I think they would also play these kind of shorts, too. Like if you would go to see like the Three Stooges and stuff, since the Three Stooges wore short films, they would play like these before them as well. But it has on here though a making of the movie as well as a commentary track on here with the director. The next one here from Lionsgate as well is a movie called London Heist. London Heist. And it's a movie starring Craig Fairbrass, and it's basically though about a group of these. It's like a kind of like a heist type movie. Their guys are like stealing from some kind of like a post office kind of bank thing, and they're kind of a whole group of these guys are stealing from them. And they end up getting away with the money, and they take it back to the one's father to watch it and keep it safe. But then for some reason the father has got some kind of a problem with owing certain type of money, and the father ends up getting killed, and then the money is all taken. And these guys had planned this was their big heist, and after this was over, they weren't going to have to work again. They weren't going to have to do any more jobs or anything, and this was kind of going to be their big score, and they were going to be done with all that. But of course though, the one guy, since his father is killed, he wants to try and figure out exactly who killed his father, why his father was killed. At the same time, this team has to get together and plan a whole nother heist because this, because all their money is gone. They have to also see if they can get their money back because they're in a bad situation because, that was kind of like they were all counting on that for one reason or another. So it's kind of like a heist movie mixed with kind of like a revenge film about who was, that killed the one guy's father. But it's actually kind of a cool thing, kind of like, I don't know, like Out of the Furnace and some of those kind of movies that are like, Triple, that one, like, come on, I don't know I can't remember the name of the other one, like 999, like those kind of movies all dealing with like heists and stuff like that. The next one here from Lionsgate as well is a movie called Love by the 10th Date. This is a movie that aired on Lifetime. It's a movie, Kelly Rowland in this movie, Meagan Good, and it's basically, though, about a group of these girls that all work at this, kind of like a magazine, kind of popular magazine, trendy magazine, and they're all working there together, and they're all kind of having their own problems with their love life, and the one's, like, married and worried about, like, their husband. It follows around the one, Meagan Good's character, and she's kind of, having a lot of really bad luck with dates and not really having much success, and she's trying to kind of find Mr. Right and stuff, and it's kind of like, at the newspaper, or the magazine where she works at, her and her friends are talking about like how she's not having a lot of luck and stuff, and she's saying, well, I would like to try and actually go out with somebody and go out like on a certain amount of dates and actually really have success with this, and like by the 10th date know that this is the person I want to be with, for a long time or actually get married to. So she's like telling her friends about all this, and then they like, well, you should do an article about this, and this would kind of be your big launching pad at the magazine to have like success doing this article. So they end up, talking to the people who are the head of the magazine. They agree to let her do this, and it's kind of like her going on all these dates, trying to find the perfect guy, and all these kind of bad dates and all that kind of stuff, and if she will or will not find the perfect guy. It kind of reminded me of like almost like a female version of like Think Like a Man, like that kind of vibe film mixed with like Devil Wears Prada with the magazine kind of company and like the fashion magazine. It kind of had that kind of vibe to that one. And the next one I got from Universal is the latest Fast and Furious film, which is, the 8th film, this one's called The Fate of the Furious. And I actually saw this one in theaters as well. I've only seen the last 3 films, and I saw all those ones in theaters. I don't feel like, though, these are movies where if you haven't seen all of them, you won't be able to understand what's going on. I think they're really, you can still pick up on them if you haven't seen every single one of the movies. These are really fun, crazy, over-the-top movies. I feel like this one was like the most over-the-top one in a long time. Just like really crazy sequences, really cool settings, a lot of stuff too in the snow. I really, really enjoyed this one a lot. The one thing to mention about this one is it includes the theatrical version and the extended versions, which is about 15 minutes longer. But the extended version is only available through Vudu. So it has in here a code on here. The extended version is not included on the discs itself. It has 2 different codes, one for the theatrical and then one for the extended. So make sure, though, if you guys pick this one up, not to get rid of the code inside, because that's the only way, you're able to watch the extended version of the movie. And this one is basically, though, all the movies deal with family and about, the whole team of them working together on these kind of missions and stopping bad guys, and then, also stealing things from bad people and all that kind of stuff. And what ends up happening, though, is Vin Diesel's character has just gotten married to Michelle Rodriguez, and they've been together for years. And basically what ends up happening, though, is he ends up getting, basically, Charlize Theron's character kind of forces him into doing these bad things for her, and he's kind of forced into it, and, he's kind of running rogue and doing this bad stuff, and his team, they're all kind of, like, not doing anything now, they're all kind of gotten out of it, but they all have to get back into it, because now they have to go and track down Vin Diesel, and they're all like, what is his character, why is he doing this, and why is he stealing things, and why is he working with this woman? And they have to trying to kind of figure out what's going on and trying to stop him. So it's all about, him basically, and they show in the trailer, turning his back on family. And there's a reason for why he's doing this, and why he's being forced into doing these things with Charlize Theron's character. But I really enjoyed this movie. It's just like a crazy, over-the-top, really fun movie. It has on here a bunch of different featurettes on the movie, some extended fight sequences on here, feature a commentary track with the director. But a really, really fun movie. Always really like these movies. movies. If you guys are a fan of this one, definitely pick this one up. And like I said, you know, make sure though you keep the digital code inside of here, because that's the only way to see the extended version of this one. The next ones here, these are really cool. These are, you know, and I had not seen the first movie here in a really long time. And it has on here too, it's important to mention, both versions of the movie in 4K, the extended version and the theatrical. I watched the theatrical one for the first time because I had never seen that version. I'd say for sure, definitely watch the extended one. That's the best version. That's a version I always have known. But this movie is the 4K release of Léon the Professional. I have always loved this movie. Like, I remember when I was like a kid, I think it was probably like in 6th grade or something, I used to watch this movie all the time. I always have loved this movie. It's like the first movie too that Natalie Portman was in. Jean Reno is in this movie, and Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman is amazing in this film. His character is like this crooked cop, and he's like chewing on this thing that he does with this pill is amazing. When he's like chewing down on this pill and like looks up, it's one of the, like, probably one of the coolest scenes in film history of him going crazy in this movie. But it's basically though about Jean Reno, who is a hitman, and he kind of goes around and like stays in places as kind of like on all these kind of tasks that he worked for this guy. And at the building where he's, you know, living at now, he meets Natalie Portman's character, who's this this kid who's living in the building, and her dad is kind of mixed up with a bad group of people who are into drugs and all this kind of stuff. And he ends up, you know, stealing some of the drugs from them and trying to cut the cocaine and stuff like that. And he gets found out and he gets killed. And Natalie Portman's character ends up having to live with Jean Reno. And she's like, well, you know, I want to be a hitman too, and I want you to teach me how to be a cleaner. And it's kind of like their relationship and their friendship. And then, of course, it's about the bad guys find out about her, and it's about them trying to find her. But this is the brand new 4K edition of the movie. The movie looks amazing in 4K. And one thing I will say too, where you really notice the 4K, which is a funny thing to mention, but you really notice, is in his jacket, Jean Reno's jacket. It's like, you know, you really can see the details of it. That was one of the big things that I was really noticing. But, you know, like the big thing too with it is always the high dynamic range, and, you know, which is all the contrast and color levels. And the contrast and color levels in this movie are amazing. It's definitely worth upgrading if you guys, you know, have 4K. It also has on here, like I said, all the features from the past releases, as well as the extended version and the theatrical one. But this is from the same director here. And this is, and I feel like he made two of probably, you know, when it comes to like, you know, these kind of like hitman type films, probably the best in the top 10, and then probably one of the top 10 science fiction movies of all time, and that one is The Fifth Element. And this is the 4K edition of this one as well. And this is about, you know, Milla Jovovich's character, who is this sort of character who's sort of like that everyone's trying to track down because she has the key to open up this door and this gateway, and she ends up falling into, when she's running away from these bad guys who are trying to get her, into Bruce Willis's cab. And it's kind of like them trying to hide out and get away, and like kind of the mission of getting to where Milla Jovovich's character has to get to. Chris Tucker's in this movie as well. I always love his character in this movie. He plays this insane kind of like TV show host, and I feel like this is probably one of his like coolest performances, because like normally he kind of plays like, you know, the same kind of role and things like that, but like in this he's just this over the top crazy character, and like everybody is really cool in this movie. I feel like this is probably one of my favorite Bruce Willis movies. He has a really cool look in this movie as well. And this is a movie too that like looks amazing in 4K, because this movie is such a colorful movie. And it was also a space movie too, where it was all set during the day for the most part, because a lot of space movies are all like at night, and this is all during the day and like daylight. And this is a movie too, like I said, it really stands out amazing because of the, you know, there's so many colors in this movie. It's a super colorful movie, and it has on here exclusive 4K feature, which has the director's notes, new interview with the director Luke Benson on here. But if you guys are a fan of this movie and have 4K, definitely worth you know, upgrading both of these ones for 4K. Really great releases, and both of them look really, really good. And the next one I got from Sony as well is the brand new Smurfs film, Smurfs: The Lost Village. This is actually a brand new Smurfs movie. It doesn't connect to the other Smurf films, which were basically the Smurfs going into the live-action world. This is a fully animated film, and this is, you know, basically focusing on the Smurfette character, you know, who was created by Gargamel, and she's kind of wondering about herself and, you know, kind of what her Smurf name is and what really is a Smurfette. And she comes to find out that there is a whole nother village of these Smurfs. And, you know, she really wants to find them and see if there's any other Smurfettes in this village. And, you know, Gargamel's character finds out that there's this other village, and he wants to go there and try and steal those Smurfs because he's kind of, you know, not had any luck stealing the current Smurfs because his character, you know, is the villain and is always trying to steal the Smurfs without, like, you know, wacky consequences and never really having any luck with it. So it's pretty much about, you know, him finding out about this new potential tribe of Smurfs, and Smurfette finds out that he knows, and her along with these other Smurfs go and try and, you know, get to the village first to warn them about Gargamel and that Gargamel's on the way. And, you know, she also wants to go there to see if there's other Smurfs or Smurfettes there as well to try and find out more about really what she is. I thought it was actually a pretty fun movie. Like I said, it's a fully animated movie. Demi Lovato does the voice of the Smurfette on here, but it's its own entity. It kind of has a vibe, a little bit of the movie Trolls. Like, it had that kind of look, because it's really crazy, like, off-the-wall, wacky characters and wacky colors and backgrounds and stuff to that. It definitely has a really cool look to the movie. It has a number of different featurettes on here, the making of the movie, music video on here by Meagan Trainor, some Draw Your Favorite Smurfs, and a bunch of different stuff on here. But it's a really fun movie of this one here. The next one from Broad Green Pictures, and I saw this one in theaters as well and really liked this movie. It's a movie called The Lost City of Z, and this is based on a true story, and like it's about this guy who's all about exploring tribes, and it's Charlie Hunnam's character, and he's like obsessed with, you know, finding this lost city of where there's like these castles, and he believes like in the Amazon that there was like this tribe there. They created this amazing type structures and things like that, and it's like his life mission to try and find this place. And the movie's basically following him on, like, his journey, going out to the Amazon, and it's, like, him a couple different times going out there and on, like, his journey and the kind of things he's come across, and he kind of, like, you know, he's always having a lot of bad luck with it and bad situations, but like even though he's having bad luck, he's continuously wanting to find this tribe, and this is like his life's goal. This was actually, like I said, amazing movie. Like it's one of those movies like I wouldn't always like something like this unless it was done really well, and this was, you know, really great acting. The whole vibe of this movie was really cool, and like him on all these kind of like the settings and everything was so cool, and like some of the stuff too. I don't know, it's just, you can't say too much about it because if you guys don't know the story, but it's essentially really, it's just him on his journey of like, you know, obsessively trying to find this one, and even though he continuously has all these problems along the way, he like, no matter what, wants to try and find this tribe. But really like this movie. It has on here though a commentary track on here, as well as some featurettes, but definitely give this movie a chance, guys. This was really, really cool movie. The next one here is the new Terrence Malick movie. This movie's finally come out because he was working on this movie the same time he was doing Night of Cups, and I think he started this movie in 2011 or 2012, and he shot it for like 2 years off and on, so you kind of can see like Rooney Mara's like hair changed a lot, because like one point she looks just like she did in The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and like Gosling kind of has the same look that he did like around the time of Only God Forgives. But this movie is called Song to Song. If you guys know Terrence Malick's movies, they're all kind of done almost like poetry and like voiceovers to these amazing cinematography shots, like, you know, floating cinematography, steady cam shots of like structures and close-ups and, you know, really cool backgrounds and things like that. And this is essentially though about Gosling's character and Michael Fassbender, and Michael Fassbender is Gosling's you know, music producer in this, and it's kind of both of them, and Ryan Gosling is sort of dating Rooney Mara, but Michael Fassbender is sort of seeing her as well, so it's kind of between both of them, kind of seeing her, and like their relationship all going, and they're also going to the South by Southwest Music Festival, so there's a bunch of music sequences in here as well, and then also, Natalie Portman's in here as one of the characters is dating Natalie Portman. So it's kind of back and forth between them and another person. It's all kind of like their dating life. It's not a movie, like, you know, his movies are not highly like dialogue written as much as it's all these, like I said, sequences, amazing cinematography. There's the same cinematographer as the person who's done like The Revenant, and like he's probably one of the best cinematographers there is. Like he is so good. So this is amazingly shot. It's not a heavy story film. I kind of like Night of Cups a little bit better because he filmed that, I think, back to back, or he was filming both of them at the same time. But this still was a really cool, amazing cinematography, amazing shot film here. Like I said, this one is song to song here. The next one here from Anchor Bay is a TV series, and this, I don't think you really need to see the first season to understand this one. It's a TV show called The Missing, and it's basically it's about, in the first season though, was about this one person that had gone missing. I hadn't seen the first season. I only saw it from this season, but had gone missing in the investigator trying to find them. And this is, though, an interesting story about this girl who had gone missing, when she was a kid, gone missing, and she was gone for 12 years, and she all of a sudden kind of comes back. And when she comes back, though, it's about the family trying to deal with what it's like for this girl who's been gone all these years to kind of come back, and then their families kind of has their own kind of problems going on. But there's also this other girl that's missing, and they're trying to talk to this girl and see what she knows and try and see if she can help them find this other girl, because it sounds like she was there with her during all that time. So they're trying to find her, and it's about the detective trying to find the case and then going back and talking to her. And it's kind of the whole thing about trying to solve this case, and this detective has kind of been retired, and he's kind of come back into this because he's the best at finding missing people. But a really interesting series. This is a show that airs on Stars here. But I was kind of liking this one. It's one of those ones, I just started watching this one, but pretty interesting show. This one here, I really love this. This is a release from Shivers Entertainment, and I had never seen this movie before. It's a movie called Little Devils, The Birth, and it's kind of like a Ghoulies type movie. And I don't know if there could ever be a Blu-ray of this one. I think it might have been edited on VHS, on video, so I don't think there could ever be like an HD version. So this is pretty much taken, from a VHS. But the quality, though, was pretty good, though. I think it's probably the best you're ever going to get of this movie. But it's a movie called, like I said, Little Devils, The Birth. And it's pretty much about this guy who's going to, like, the cemetery and taking this weird goo out of, like, a sarcophagus kind of thing in the ground, like this hole in the ground. And he's kind of messing around with it and like forming these weird creatures in his apartment complex out of like clay, and they're kind of coming to life. And the other guy who lives in the apartment complex, and he's like a writer that writes kind of like articles in like Playboy, these kind of weird erotic type of things. And he kind of goes around with the doctor, his friend who's a doctor, who is from the TV show Twin Peaks, Ross Tomlin's character. And they kind of go and help the homeless, but he meets this girl that he likes. But essentially, though, it's about these weird little ghouly gremlin type creatures that are kind of going out and doing the guy who created them's bidding and killing people. And there's amazing music. The music, like some of the themes of these creatures, it's like this weird sounding music when they're going out and killing people, and it's definitely kind of more like a PG kind of vibe movie, PG-13, but that's kind of what I liked about it. And there's like these goofy deaths and these amazing scenes of the gremlin type things crawling down this rope. If you guys ever seen this one, let me know. But this is one like definitely, like, if you like those kind of gremlins, ghoulies movies, you like really cheesy ones, this is like a must get. Like, this is one of my favorite things I watched in a long time. I just love these kind of ridiculous movies, especially when I kind of come across one I had never seen before. It has on here, though, an interview with the writer and co-producer on this one. The next one here from Black Fawn Distribution, and this is one I was really wanting to see because I really love the first movie, and like I hadn't seen the first one in a long time, so I kind of forgot some of it. They kind of recap it though in the beginning of the movie, but I remember really liking this. And this, I don't think it would matter if you haven't seen the first one, but it's a movie called Antisocial 2, and it's basically, though, in the first movie there was like a kind of a Facebook type website where it was kind of controlling the people on it and then turning them into kind of like mindless zombies if they would log onto the website. And this one is basically, though, set a couple years after, and then one girl who survived this whole thing, and now the world has kind of become like a post-apocalyptic world, and there's zombies everywhere, and people are all kind of coming after her, and they're all like, people are kind of connected to this Facebook website, to each other, and they're all kind of connected to their minds and stuff. And you see something is going on. It's like keeps on saying the update is at this percent, this percent, this percent, and it's kind of like worrying that what's going to happen when it gets to this. So this girl is kind of panicked. And beginning of the movie, though, she was pregnant, and her kid is stolen from her. So it's her trying to find her kid who was taken from her, going around this kind of wasteland world, and then of kind of like what ends up happening. And it kind of has like a Day of the Dead kind of feel to this, where she ends up getting to. I don't know. I enjoyed this one a lot. It was a very. I feel like they definitely had a lot more money for this movie than they did in the first movie, because it was a much bigger film, because the first movie was all kind of set in an apartment. This is a much bigger film, but really, really cool film. I don't know. I really like these films. I really wonder if they're going to continue on with this series, but really well done follow-up to the film. And the next one here from Accelerator Media, and I'll put a link below where you guys can order this one. And it's a movie called Sun Choke, and the main actress was from the show Freaks and Geeks. And this is basically... it's a really weird concept film, but it's this girl who lives with this woman played by Barbara Crampton, and you're kind of like, is this her mother? Who is this woman? You know, you're really wondering what's going on, and she's doing all these weird things. She's like making her do like yoga, stand on one leg. She's kind of like controlling her and like telling her all these weird things, and you must do this, and if you don't do this, you're gonna go crazy, and you have to do this. She's like telling her all these like controlling type things, and I think you're okay to leave the house now. You can probably go out of the house now finally. And like when she finally leaves the house, and this is earlier on in the movie, she becomes obsessed with this one girl, and she's kind of following her around, spying in her window. And then, like, you know, Barbara Crampton's character is doing, like, if she doesn't go and do what she says, she does these weird, like, kind of torture things when she hits this weird type of, like, bell sort of thing, like, weird metal thing. It's an insane movie. It's not one you can really explain too much. It's one of those kind of, like, trippy movies you really just have to watch and experience what's going on. It's a very, very trippy, weird movie. It's not going to be a movie for everybody, but it's one of those movies where I like obsessed with this and like kind of kept thinking about it because it is so peculiar. And like sometimes peculiar can like be like, oh, it's just peculiar. But this one was actually peculiar and actually kind of cool. And you're trying to figure out exactly what's going on here, why this woman is treating this girl like this, and what is the reason for this. And, you know, you're going to figure out what's going on here. And it's got like this kind of vibe. You're really trying to figure out what's happening. And I really love this. I thought it was a super, super trippy movie here. The next one here, and this is just a disc of this one. This movie is on like demand now. You can watch it on like Vudu and all the kind of like on-demand streaming services and stuff. It's a movie called Alter, and I'll let you guys know when, you know, if there's a DVD release of this one down the line. This is like they just put the movie on a disc so I could watch it. But it's basically, this was actually, when it comes to found footage movies, probably one of the ones I really liked the most in a really long time. And I don't know, like the one guy too, it was like, I don't know, I just want to, basically though, in the beginning of the movie, though, it's like this couple that are going on this trip out to, like, the mountains, and they just got married, and it's like this guy, you know, this woman was way out of his league, and, like, all he wanted to do was, like, leave. He didn't, you know, wasn't even worried, and he just wants to go out and, like, hike around the mountains like a fool. And I don't know, it's like, if you're watching this, you're like, why is he leaving? Why is he not staying in the room with her? I don't know, but he basically just wants to go out, and of course, though, both of them in the beginning of the movie get killed, and then the movie follows around this one kid who has, like, autism, and he's going around, you know, mild Asperger's, and he's, like, filming kind of helps him open up and stuff, and he's kind of filming with his sister and planning to go on this trip to the mountains with them, and it's like a big group of these people. He's going to film the whole movie, so it's all done found footage style. So it's kind of them in this group, and at first it's amazing the way it's like this group that's like 20-some people, maybe 30 people, and it's like they're all talking the same time. It's like, whoa, it's like insane. They're all just like discussing it. Of course, most of them go off on other cars on their own way, and they're not even in the movie. They're only in the beginning. But it was like, that's why you don't have everybody talking the same time. But this main group of them, though, they end up, you know, basically getting lost and out in the middle of nowhere. And of course, though, the people that were killed in the beginning of this movie, who killed them, something's weird going on out there, and you know these people are out there, and it's kind of them out in the middle of nowhere, and it's kind of it's not like a super scary movie, but it's all like character development filled. But I love this one. I thought the characters were really good in this one, and like just the way it was filmed, and it was just a cool concept movie. And like I said, it's a movie called Alter. But definitely check this out here. The next one here from IFC Midnight is a movie called American Fable. And this is basically interesting, kind of reminded me a little bit of the movie Reflecting Skin a little bit, just like the way it looked and the vibe of it. And people kind of compare it to Pan's Labyrinth, like, because this movie's got like, a lot of like dream type sequences and stuff, and it definitely does have that kind of feel to this. But it's about this girl who lives on a farm with her family, and out in the silo she ends up discovering that there's this man in the silo, and he's like locked in there, and he's like, don't tell anybody I'm in here, keep this between us. And like for some reason he's locked out there, and it's kind of her talking to this guy, trying to figure out what's going on and like what he's doing out there and if she can help him. And her family is going through all these kind of problems because they like not making enough money and the land might be taken away from them. And you're trying to kind of figure out exactly what's the meaning behind being out there. And it also has these amazing sequences of this girl's like imagination and these sequences that she's seeing of this weird type of character. And like I said, it does have that kind of Reflecting Skin kind of vibe, if you guys ever saw that movie, with the wheat and the look to this and the whole farm look and everything. But a pretty interesting movie here. It has on here, though, deleted scenes, behind the scenes still gallery, and a trailer on this one. And the last one here from Candy Factory Films is a movie called Behind the Mask. And this is a documentary on the fan film, the Batman fan film Dead End, and I think that fan film was from 2003, and I remember that fan film. And this is basically about mainly following the director, and about like how the fan film was kind of like really a huge thing that blew up and became a big thing at Comic-Con, and all the articles, news sites were talking about it, and this guy was supposed to really become this huge director. And it's kind of showing exactly what had kind of gone wrong, about how he kind of had all these scripts and things weren't working out. And it's kind of showing exactly how things weren't working out for this guy and didn't go the way that they should have. And it's kind of about showing how when the thing first came out and all this success at Comic-Con, and then it has some stuff about making the movie itself and like how it was put together and the whole thing. It's all about the process of making this movie. I actually think this is probably one of the better documentaries in a long time, because it kind of like shows this director, and you kind of feel bad for him, and at the same time you're kind of like, well, why didn't he do this, and why didn't he take this or just do this to have gotten that? And it's a really interesting thing about showing how things could have gone one way and then they didn't. And I don't know, I thought this was actually a pretty well done documentary here. But anyway though, guys, that's all for this update video. Thanks again for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you guys later.